hello Galactic family. Inexpensive voice friends, I'm looking forward to spending time with you. As I told you a few weeks ago, I would step up to the crucial moment in particular, more within my humanity than as commander, because you know that we do silence. If we are to express ourselves, we pass the impersonal. So today I would like to be with you to share, submit them all my blessings, all my love, and share with you things and more. We will try to progress the way through our exchanges on what you have in your heart, about what may still briefly to return the ghosts of bicycletina, mental or what you need may clarify this period need where you live on this earth, and that can be named the face-to-face last, if I may say, between the eternal and the ephemeral. So therefore, we will listen to each other and try to take advantage of all that we will change, so that as many as possible to take advantage of certain clarifications or certain explanations, all that you want to talk. Then we'll hear what you have to tell me what they say people who are willing to make questions or ask about any domain that is. Question we will be aware of the arrival of the 3 days, 6 days before. There where you are, you will know sooner and have more precise signals that we will not have. As you know, the arrival of the 3 days is more or less in sync with the visibility of Hercules, is not it? And like you, we cannot sight, even here where we are, with their fluctuations as your scientists know it, an orbit that does not always have the same trajectory, not particularly the same speed. That's why we also cannot detect long before you, so to speak, in the important moment at the time crucial if I can say. So we're one and the other in the same situation, even I would say the source, in its greatness and in its ability to travel at all times and all dimensions, cannot be more precise than that. But we have always said that you would increasingly evident first fruits, namely, all that was hidden is revealed, when the proximity of some events announced by the prophets of all time, and also the programming done by the bad guys concerning the events they would like to change in their favor, of course. You have the signs, of course, but even among these signs, you may not realize that anything beyond the relevance and intensity, you cannot find other information in advance of the time of the 3 days, but those that have been said, that is the trumpets, it is not. Some of you, as I already said, expect, or still others fear this event. Or others do not have the possibility, because they no life even believe it or thinking about it, and that is fine as well, because you know very well that as long as there is a collective sense, even if it is a specific group, in a country on a continent, or poles of common interest, it moves a lot with the energies of the egregore and the collective unconscious. Then each one will be taken on the basis, I would say, no will of their preparation but their availability. Because of this, of course, it is not that so purely psychic, including the astralone, some of you are aware of the imminence. But even amid this looming, there is no precise dates or time, until the last moment, for each, as you know it, this face-to-face last individual and collective, each one is exactly the place suiting and will be picked up, not off guard, more will be caught in the consciousness he has at the very moment of astrophysical signals and Maria appeal themselves, and, as you know it, the trumpets of heaven and earth. So no further details than those which I have given you already do about a month, concerning the period in which you are. It can be on any day in any week, and do you before they can hear the trumpets, even if it is something you expect that you hold dear, you are in danger also to be surprised, because you and lemon surprise is not to the detriment of consciousness, but is much more a shock. And you know that the shock of humanity, as presented by the beloved Sri Aurobindo, John if you will, comes in handy. But others, some of you are in anger, others in denial, more and more, and other acceptance full and confident, as some of you have had the chance to get in touch, if I can say, with the spirit of Hercules, and felt this incredible love, this planet, this star if you like, because it is neither star nor planet, it is between the two. And freedom of Nibiru or Hercules causes, as we have always told you, already in the 2010s, its speed fluctuated due to the different electromagnetic forces, which he found on his crossing of the solar system. He could then, and as noted in a formal way those with appropriate means, its speed has never been constant, even if it may be considered that its orbital revolution always has the same length. You know, its a zodiacal cycle is 25,000 years with a more or less next pass all 12,000 years, even every 3,600 years. So if you want, we have no way, even with our vision, if I can say, to give them more information, dates. And even if we had them, we would never, as this would be absolutely contrary to the Earth Liberation Project and his own release. So you only have their own channels, their own senses, his own intellect that can see the signs. They are numerous, of course, are all present among those I had given long before the heavenly honeymoon, years before I gave them a number of markers. Now, if you want to have more precisions and, think about it, I would refer them to the prophecies they made accessible to them, whether ancient prophecies or much more recent that were made, I would say, since more than 150 years everywhere on Earth. You will find their signs, you will find there all the abs that effectively converge to a crucial event. And it is through the importance that I had spoken at the time, for example, the fire belt of the Pacific, the volcanoes, the dragons have told them about the holes in the ground that they form to stabilize the expansion of the Earth. This expansion, I remind you, you make the diameter of the Earth pass about 6,000 to 9,000 in a few kilometers. So you see well that this is not an event that will be realized only by a majority, no one can escape this event. Whether you believe it or not, whether you think of it or not, you want to wait or not, this event is naturally present. They lack the famous criterion threshold where Nibiru becomes visible, and I must remind you of the appeal of Marian trumpets to come so nearly synchronic, in the same period of time. What is not obvious to know, for those of you who are interested in the prophecies, the signs terrestrial or celestial, of course you see clearly now that kind of acceleration and expansion of the revelations, all that was hidden, in you and in the level, I would say, society. But more than ever, since the signature vibrato and face-to-face, every person, every brother, every sister, even those I was appointed at the time of organic portals can wonder about what is currently unfolding on this earth. And besides, even the official media, as you say, begin to give them little information. Of course they are changed in the time duration of the level, but gradually a number of elements, even for those who hide from you the truth, are unveiled now. Because silence cannot be made, and it is necessary anyway, both for you and for us, as for the bad guys, of references, and we all use the same references. Very obviously the purpose is not quite the same in the individual and what they think, or what they believe, or what they expect. But wherever you are on this earth, all the signs of society, the signs of his body sense, and that was specified by the impersonal, frank and massive activation of the last doors that are located in the pelvis, sacrum, front and back, which was synchronized with the permeability of the life wave, not the energy of the crystalline core of the earth or the different components, but directly to the fire of the spirit. This, you are increasingly likely to see this warmth underfoot, which are not energy waves that rise as before, even if sometimes it can follow some circuits in your legs or even in your stomach, but many people feel the things. Many brothers and sisters, for example, have whistling in the ears. So of course they will think, who know nothing, these buzzes, which are a medical problem. That's not it. The sound in your ears becomes increasingly acute, strident, by flashing or permanently. This is the direct approach of Nibiru. This is more not only what has been named the Antakarana, or the sound of the soul, the sound of the spirit, the sound and presence is coming to your channel Mariano, but is directly what you hear in your ears, what you feel in your feet or the height of the pelvis sacrum, linked to the arrival of Nibiru. And when I say the arrival, it is coming from more than 30 years, is not, but then I speak visibility, and before all electromagnetic effects that will allow correct what was appointed at the time, which was the nuptial celestes, with the revelation of the stars, the slanting light, the axis of forgery. And this axis of forgery, you find it in you, of course, but you find it on the slope of the planets, and you are not without ignore, for those who are interested in the solar system, the planets outermost have suffered extremely significant disruption, and in particular the axis changes, and what was called the overturning of the poles, magnetic first, and then physical, of course. But all this is part of the things that take place, of course, sensitively, in you and in the whole society, as everywhere on earth. So you have no better signs than those which you live in your body and those that you can see or read in the media, whatever they are, and this is linked to the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the holes that appear on land or revelations, all that was concealed and hidden. The lighting of the light becomes more and more noticeable, and now, this illumination light joins, if I can tell, the fire igniter, fire, so to speak, generated by Hercules. And that you live it in your body. Not only are more physiological changes, it can be said, are manifestations that relate to corporeality directly. Symptoms appear. I have spoken in different places I just mentioned. That's the only way you have to be able to specify or approach to a specific date. But it serves no purpose to have a specific date, because if you try a lot to date, you forget to watch what you live. Not to look at the navel, for entrance is on the effectiveness of activation of such a port or such other port, but much more to realize, and as flesh, what unfolds. So it's clear that some of your dreams, some will create dreams, and many others, since decades, create dreams of this kind, but in dreams, you have the possibility of never dating. Who can say I've had a dream in particular, predictive or prophetic, where a date was given, for example, see a calendar or a date that is established? This is something very rare, I would even say exceptional, especially in these circumstances corresponding to the entire solar system. Here's what I posit. Is there other questions in the room about it? Question and about the prophecies of Nostradamus that announced the end of the world in 2025? The important thing is the release. The important thing is to live what you have to live for the 132 days, but I doubt even that can provide dates. Others spoke of 2036. You yourselves have seers who saw a new humanity, new rules of life, but this, it does not exist, you know it. So there is no time to look, just the whole that is accessible to them as information, your body, the society and the world, make us admit or not the reality of what is produced. Because of course, there are all mechanisms and caterpillar survival that are still active until it has received the signal collective metamorphosis, the 3 days of STARSEEDS, and previous trumpets, of course. Thus, all dates were given, now, but all dates are false by definition. That's what they lack, except there is no date, even if there is a crucial event in a given date. Even Nostradamus, that I remember them, was still blessing Danov, the walk-in, Orionis, could not incarnation give other details that those who handed in allegorical form, or veiled if they prefer. Because it is of no use, you know it very well. Of course that would be satisfactory for the caterpillar plan your metamorphosis, telling yourself I will do this or that before. Look also generally when we are incarnate, how many of us are notified on the day of his death? I would take them to have an angel guardian particular. This was the case, for example, for the woman who died, I think, that had received the teachings of the dialogue with the angel. This was also the case of some prophets who sent their death announcement to arrive on the day of his death and not late. But it is exceptional to be informed, since the personal level, the changeover day is not death. So you imagine well that the level of such a change, which is not death but the resurrection, you cannot know the date. And you, like us as the bad guys, hope all the visibility, because they know very well that the forces at play will no longer controllable from that moment. And they try course base your plan, for those who still, of course, do not understand that no plan would change nothing, try to base this approximate knowledge of the arrival of Nibiru radiation full way to establish, if I may say, the year schedule. But do not occupy it, be content in being fully present in the raw, in your body, be present every minute in their lives, to be lucid, to be in love, and remember that in this period, I had the opportunity to say, silence is always preferable instead of explanations and words. What is important is what you are, what radiates from you when the person no longer involved, and it happens of course irrespective of his will, regardless of their alignment or you desire. When you are as natural as possible, if I can say, in the matter, this body you inhabit, even then at that moment you are aligned. Whether in nature or to go see the tax collector is the same. If you come to stay in this attitude alignment, so to speak, of expanded consciousness, without preparation, without even thinking about it, you will realize that much difference. This is your challenge, the challenge, if I can say, that individual face to face, is to keep what you are, in fact, whatever the circumstances, sometimes unpleasant that might make them, live relationships, family, social, professional, or even your body. Because if the minor if the minor issues, you lose the north, so to speak, how are you going to do when there are no more the north during the stasis? So know the date of no use, since that date, it is entered in this that you live, increasingly, through, as explained by the impersonal, the activation of the last doors, for those of you that live, of course. And even for those who do not live anything today, there is still a way, not intuition but feeling or restlessness. Look around you, the advertisements, the media, which in little touches tell them so increasingly incongruous, I would say, the end of the world, even if they do not employ the word, even if it is in the movies. See everything that happens. You do not feel that sense of urgency, that essence of deep peace when you leave this urge to want to do this or that? So there will be no date. The only date is the appeal of Mary, and the trumpets, of course. Permanent trumpets, not the repetition and multiplication in different places on the planet, but their simultaneous appearance in all the earth, both in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. There are of course other celestial signs that had been announced by the prophets, the auroras visible at mid-latitudes and not in high altitude, not near the poles but close even to the equator. All this, if they want, are realities that accompany the changes. Similarly, meteorites, Michael had told them that he would be represented and expressed in meteorites. Inform yourself about the meteorites. You will see the number of meteorites that pass through the Earth's atmosphere, and even some of them, small fragments for now, we disperse a little everywhere. All of this is real, this is all very real. There is no need here of intuition, there is no need of feeling, there is no need for concern, there is no need of urgency, there just need to be there, whether it is easy or difficult, because each one of you is different. And then precisely this collective moment that effectively touches, I would say, the latter stages. These latter stages that could well not exist if there had urgency and the effective liberation of humanity had happened several years ago. The more time goes, even if it seems complicated or difficult, plus there is a chance for an increasingly large number of brothers and sisters. Not necessarily to evoke the end, but at least to move it to the inside of you to understand what happens on Earth. Without even talking, of course, the archons or the hidden things, I speak of things visible and tangible that happen in your world at present, already since some months, but with an intensity that cannot be disputed. Question: you asked us to watch the turmoil in the Middle East. Absolutely. Question: but the Middle East is already completely turned upside down. Oh, that's nothing, my friend. Continued, Part 1ab, you read in the Apocalypse of St. John, the last battle of Armageddon, it is very clearly where it happens. It is the starting point, of course. And I assure you, and you know very well if you follow, as you call it, the news, if interested at the same time on both sides of the barrier, without getting in the shameless lies that are spoken by the official media in the West, in any case in European countries, because it is not the same thing or the same speech in other countries, of course. In this Europe, even if Europe made today, everything is done to make them sleep and get distracted, of course, which is not the case in many other countries. Try to see the Chinese news and you will see clearly that they announced the Third World War already several months ago. Look at the side of the Russians, see in other countries, even Japan, and see what it says. There is a preparation that is in progress, while in Europe, everything is done so that nothing is prepared. But that, I told them long ago. Question: what is the star-shaped V, visible south for 2 months before the dawn? Dear friend, we do not have the same point of view of where we are, how you want me to answer. But I think there are technologies that allow you, through computers, know exactly what is in heaven. And the spring, what is? In the northern hemisphere, where you live, or in the southern hemisphere,